Hi, everybody. It's Tanya, Sheikh, and me. and we're going to find out from Tanya today what she did in the last year, because you were diagnosed with 5 life-threatening illnesses. You were basically told, that's it. You're like, you're done, right? And hey, here you are. And I know you did some mind-blowing, like consciousness-blowing work to make that happen. And we all want to hear, what did you do and how did you make that happen? So go.
Well, I think a turning point that is underestimated and so important in the whole thing was that email conversation that I had with you, and where I told you what I had been told, and I told you that I just didn't know. I just didn't know because I felt such a sense of completion within myself, because the piece that I had been bringing through for 10 years was complete. It was complete. It was done. So there was no burning sense of the next, or I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to create something new, because I just felt completion. And then you so brilliantly, you gave me choice, Solera. And that is so, I think that's so underestimated, the power of choice, where I could feel like you were totally okay with whichever decision that you made. And that was a turning point when I was like, no, I want another chapter. So the desire, because to create something on the level that we're creating, there has to be a burning desire, because we have to either go so far out or so far in, and because we're really pushing the boundaries here. We're really new. So that desire has to be like white hot inside. And before that conversation with you, I couldn't get to that white hot desire. I was like, I don't know, and so that was the first step. And then I started like diving into the body, really into the body, and opening to what was being called the new miraculous. And yes, for me, it did open doors. It did open understandings. I started working with the DNA, doing all the upgrades and all of that stuff. And I started getting better, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, because I was really sick. Like in January, I couldn't get out of bed. I literally couldn't get out of bed. And so the first weekend of February, I still remember that weekend. Oh my God, that was so intense. And that was, and leading up to that, it was so crazy. I was like obsessed with energies like vampires and necromancy. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Necromancy? That's just really extreme, and reading like all these novels about it and watching all these movies. And I was like, where is this going?
Yeah.
And then the first week of February happened, and I dove into like the black hole, like literally the black hole energy, which we really like, we think it's death. We associate that with death. And to take that step and to bypass all cultural conditioning and everything that's ingrained within our mortality as well. We had this body that thinks that death is not a good thing, so you have to bypass that primal urge to not go there. But then once I went there, I realized that death is it's like jet fuel for life. It gave me a completely different source of life. And so I started bringing that back. The first step was bringing that back and watching my body get stronger and stronger. And then once I had some level of mastery with that, I started fusing it with life. So death and life kind of came together and had babies, basically, in my body, and that's what created a different kind of body. It's like I started creating a complete, it's like my body, not just my body consciousness, but the what kind of creature it was beyond the consciousness itself started to morph. And you talked about it so brilliantly a couple of days ago, being immortal. And that's what happened when you fuse death and life together. that energy of immortality starts to come in, because you're understanding life in a completely different way. And I think that's what's so brilliant. I mean, yes, I did something amazing, but there's so many of us doing similar things in similar amazing ways, because we're understanding that in 70 or 75 years, that's not how long we're supposed to live. I think we're absolutely supposed to live hundreds of years. That's what we're built for. Like the primal template or code has that potential and possibility in it, and we're finding our way to it in ways that are just spectacular and breathtaking.
Yeah, wow. Do you know, it's so funny when you said about us immortal. We didn't talk about that a couple of days ago, but I found yesterday I was on a call and it was the first time ever I was able to say, I am an immortal. And that must be because of what you were doing. Thank you.
And others, absolutely, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, that whole part about being immortal, I mean, it's related to the God piece, right? Like Centauri, because I'm a map mate. I map people, okay? I map books, songs, people, anything. What's their source points? It's like a painting, looking at a painting and wanting to see the whole painting. Never been able to map Centauri until March. And why March? Because the black hole allowed me to step into my own God self in that way, that embodied God self. And suddenly I was like, oh, that's what he's doing, right? So it was really like, if we're gods, we're immortal. And then infusing that energy into the body, and it's like so exciting to see how is the body going to respond over the next decade or 2 decades? Are we all going to start to live beyond 100 years?
Yeah. Fascinating. So here's what's exciting to me. So you went into a black hole. Very few people would think to do that, and I'm not sure anybody should just wander in.
Not just wander in. It's going to hurt like freaking crazy, because the first time that I did it, the first time it happened, I was in agony. To be honest, that first weekend in February, it hurt like freaking crazy, because I take my whole body with me, right? And that's where the rub is sometimes, because that's a completely different consciousness. And when you're like going beyond the beyond and you're taking your body with you, oh wow, the body goes kind of bananas. So do not just go there. I mean, make sure you
no. Black holes, don't wander into black holes aimlessly. But once you were in there, then you were talking to me about experiencing what you called a singularity. Can you say some more about that?
Yeah, it was like flatlining for me. Like we see in movies, like when people they die because they want to know what's on the other side, and then they come back. It was exactly like that. I felt that everything that I had been, everything that I was, all of me just stopped existing. It was like, that's it, game over. And then you get almost like a reboot, but it's not the reboot of the old system. It's like you get new hardware. So every time I go into the black hole, it's like getting new hardware. But everything has to die. And that's the part that I can do really fast now. But it took me a while to have that capacity, for all of me to have that willingness to go into that place and just be able to not let everything go, but just to stop existing.
It's more than surrender, isn't it? It's more than letting go. It's more than surrender. I get that. And it's not, you could say death, rebirth, but it's more like I would guess a remaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
From everything. It's just you're remade in some way. And so when you experience that, the life, death, merge, the singularity, the remaking of you, then how did that affect the 5 life-threatening illnesses that you were dealing with?
They just disappeared. I was having blood tests and all those other tests every 6 weeks. And then, and I could feel that, in January, I couldn't get out of bed. And so first weekend of February was the breakthrough. And by March, I was walking around again, and I was like, hey, I'm walking around again, right? And then I had blood tests, and I think by April, May, nothing was showing up.
And so you didn't go to work on each one to kind of eliminate it. You didn't do anything like that.
No, but like for example, I had brain stuff going on. I had like the beginning stage of Alzheimer's and multiple sclerosis, and I did like work with the brain, and I had heart disease and diabetes, and I did work with the heart. But I only did that like maybe like 10% of the time, and it was really the fusion between the life and death energies that remade the body, and that allowed the body to start to heal itself, and to start to remake itself. And in the remaking, that all that other stuff wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not really healing, is it? It's a remaking is probably the better way to say it. Yeah, I really get that. That's so exciting. I love it. I love it. I love it. Would you say there are any implications of that for others who might be dealing with similar things in terms of how they might look at it and go forward with it?
Well, I mean, I can talk about what I've seen in like the group work that I do, and the
Okay,
people
yeah,
that
go
are
for
there
it.
and who are struggling with certain things or whatever. And what I've noticed is really interesting is that sometimes things get recreated. It's like there'll be a session and it'll be gone, completely gone, and they'll experience that goneness. And then the week after, there'll be a part of it will be there again. And I'm like, what is that? Because I didn't have to deal with that myself. So I really have to see like, hey, they're doing something that I didn't do. And sorry. And looking at that, and it's like this big identity piece. It's like when there's an identity built up, however subconscious, around certain things, it's like you can recreate something really fast.
Yeah.
So that it's really like, and this is such an important piece, the fluidity of self. It's so important, the ability to, in whichever format, to dissolve yourself, and have a very fluid sense of self, and not be attached to X, Y, Z. This is who I am. This is what I am. This is what my life looks like. This is what, and that, I think that's like one of the core pieces of everything that we do, when you're even for like, so anyone who's like dealing with these kind of challenges, or any kind of challenges really, if you invested a lot of energy into that challenge, positive or negative, it's going to be harder because you built like yourself around it, like
I completely get that. I've been playing with that myself, and sometimes I think it's the belief of something in matter. It's the concerns about all the medical stuff that gets spoken and given to us. Or you have to dissolve all of that. You have to have no thoughts, no beliefs around it almost. And it's not for me when I'm playing with this. I'm not playing with it at the level you were playing with it for sure. But if I'm playing with it, it really takes a kind of a no thought place, a complete surrender of identity. But also, for me, I surrender into becoming the universal power. And then I let it have its way, which is me sourcing. So I don't think something's doing it to me. I become it, and then it and I do it together for me or for somebody else. So, yeah. I really get that. Oh my God.
When also like, when I was told that, I got the blood test, and like they have these colors, right? Yellow, green, and red. And if you see reds, then you need to start worrying. And mine was like red, 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 red. And he was like, oh God, he's like, yeah. Anyway, but so I got the news, and of course it hit me, of course it hit me. It did. But I never had the thought that if I don't want this to be true, I won't be able to make it true. I never had the thought that this was like, if I chose not to go down this path, I didn't have a choice, and that's the part about like the self and the energy that we invested in it. It's like I know that it's, for some people, it could be really easy to get that kind of feedback from a doctor and be like, oh my God, that said, no matter what I do, blah, I never had that. Even when I couldn't get out of bed, there was this underlying supreme trust that it was going to be fine. It was going to be totally fine, you know?
That's crucial to me right there. It's that absolute 100%. But even that belief, it's not like it will go this way. It's not like that, is it?
No. It doesn't come from a willpower place at all. It's just this knowing. And you know, and again, back to self, it's a knowing of self actually, because you know that you're going to be able to turn it out amazingly, miraculously, magically. You don't know how yet, you know, but you know.
That's the beauty of it, because you wouldn't have thought, oh, well, I'll go into a black hole and I'll merge. You wouldn't, it's not planned. It's not taught. It's not techniques that you follow. Once you have that supreme desire, choice, it takes you. And it opens up where you need to be to discover what that is. I talk about it like there's a universal force that is always working to elevate, enhance, and evolve life.
Yeah.
And I think when we give ourselves into that, when we become that force, and I think that's what you did in the merging of life and death, I think you became that force and then brought that back as you.
Yeah.
And then you had that certainty of knowing that would be so, because it is supreme trust, but it's also you are the source creator of it. At the same, it's a paradox, you know.
It is. It's one of those paradoxes that, you know, I know it lies at the core of your work. It lies at the core of my work. You know, it's like this ultimate surrender, but it's to surrender to self in the deepest way.
Yeah. So we're coming up to almost time. So is there anything else you want to add in the mix for people to know about with all this?
I would say that if you want to live longer and be more vital, it's such the important piece is really to have a celebration of what we consider to be death, you know, and really open up to the truth of what that is, because it's like such a gift to our humanity, to our immortality, to our mortality. And it's like, I know that when I talk about death or write about death, I get less likes on Facebook and stuff, because people have this subconscious primal, I don't want to go there. But I would say my invitation is go there, because life is, I mean, the amount of joy, bliss, ecstasy, the intensity and the levels that I've experienced since I opened to it have just been off the charts. And I know that wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't gone there. So I'd be like, people, just go there. You know, it is not scary. It's like a freaking birthright to go there. You know, we're all going to go there. So just go there now and get the juiciness before it's too late.
I love it. That's beautiful. Thank you for all that. That's just amazing. I think you're leading the way into a whole new frontier of possibility for us. So really exciting. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.